Okay. All right, great. Well, then that recording has now captured that we have approved the minutes from May 11th. So, okay, great. Thanks, thanks everybody. We'll go ahead and post those. So the next item is approval of minutes from the Communications and Outreach Subcommittee, of which I am not a part. So I'm going to hand that over then to Jane, I think.
Why?
Oh, actually, Barbara, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't believe I got those minutes. The only minutes I have on this email were the ones from, was not from the, where is it?
Yeah, I actually don't have those minutes. Margaret, do you have access to those minutes?
I don't think so. I was out of the country then. So it's possible that somebody did send them to me, but.
Yeah, should I try to email them to everybody, Monica? Or?
Oh, don't we usually do that?
Yeah,
Yes.
I've included them in the last, well, April and May meetings, but we didn't have a quorum. So all of the outreach members got them twice, but we didn't include them, you know, in this. So I can forward them to everybody now.
Okay.
Good, good,
So-
thank you.
Yeah, the minutes will only be voted on by the people who are actually a part of that subcommittee. So that's why weren't included for everybody.
Okay. And do we have a quorum of that subcommittee?
We do.
Okay. So you could go on an approving bonanza, it sounds like, if you've missed the past couple of months worth.
It'll take me a minute to send them, so you may want to move on.
Okay, yeah. So why don't we just go ahead and do member reports then, and then we'll come back to these minutes once they've gone out. Monica, do you have something?
I might be able to send them in the chat because they were posted to the website. Let's see. Oh, maybe not. Okay, well, I'll see if I can do that too. Just
Yeah,
Okay.
they're there in March.
March. Thank you. That's why.
So while that's while you're collecting the minutes, we'll go around for member reports. Do members have reports of activities since our last meeting?
I have a report. I don't know if it's
Jane,
a
please.
committee report or a personal, but I'll say it anyhow. Margaret and I created a poster for Juneteenth, 2 posters. And I spent a portion of this afternoon running around, hanging them up in places like Starbucks, which was delighted to have them. And my physical therapy place and my credit union. And those all get a lot of foot traffic. And they are beautiful posters, and they're 2 different ones. The text is the same, but the artwork is 2 different pieces that the students did as part of the Witness Stone project. So that's what I did. And I don't know if that's a committee thing or a personal thing, but, and Margaret put it all over town hall and all the town buildings, and also on the public electronic sites for the town. It's very nice. And it's for explaining to people what Juneteenth is in case they never heard of it before, which I thought was a good thing to do, because everybody was worried it would be a political statement. I said, it's not a political statement, it's an informative statement. So then they all calmed down. So that's what I did today.
Great, thank you, Jane. So if you're in Starbucks or doing PT or elsewise, do check it out. Are there other copies if members want them to circulate in their networks, Margaret or Jane?
Yes. We produced 30 of them, which is what I pushed out last week. And then we printed another dozen, which is what Jane tapped into. So we have probably another half a dozen in my office if anybody would like to grab one.
Okay.
Is it possible to send a copy of those electronically to all of us?
Yes, everybody got it a couple of weeks ago, but I can send it to you
No.
again.
Oh, maybe.
You can download it from the town website. Both of
Yep,
them are on
it's
there.
on
and
the
you get a
homepage.
link, and it says if you want to download, so you can do that.
Great. So that's great. Terrific. Thank you so much, Jane and Margaret, for putting that together. I know it's been a couple months in the making, and Juneteenth is upon us on Sunday, and Monday is the recognized day. So so excellent timing. Other members with reports? Esme?
Usually Katie's here, but I know she would want us to mention that Pride went very, very well. There was a huge turnout and everything like looked amazing. There were so many people there.
Great. Yes. So this was the flag raising at Town Hall. Is that the and the larger event on Friday? Great. So glad that that went off well and coordinated. You know, I know Katie's been working very hard on that, and I'm glad that the high school got to participate as well. Thank you, Esme. Other reports?
Glenn, if I may add, the Witness
Please.
Stone unveiling went great yesterday. It was very moving. The kids were amazing. Pat Phineas, Wilson Phineas gave a very moving talk about the Witness Stone project and its impact on her ability to connect with, you know, 9 generations of her own family down in the Guilford area. So that was powerful. And we had about 100 people in attendance. So there's some pictures on Facebook, on the town's Facebook page, and the school district's Facebook page. So it was really successful. And so I encourage everybody to stop by and see it. And the artwork will be there the rest of this week, I think, at the library.
Great. Thank you, Margaret. Yeah, from all reports, it sounds like it went off really, really well. And as you'll all remember, we had the middle school to present to us about the project, which has been, you know, over a year in the works. So it's great to see that, and it's great to see that that work is continuing. So terrific. Any other member reports of any activities either they've done, or if there are any other announcements of things that are upcoming that you want to flag for folks?
I just want to tell
Jane,
everybody, Emiliani Dobson won an award from Princeton University, and I put it up on Facebook because nobody else bothered to give it any publicity. 26 kids in the whole country for their work on civil rights, and he was one of the 26. And his biography is incredibly impressive. His work is very impressive, and he's very quiet and doesn't make a lot of noise. But take a look at it on Facebook, because this is a wonderful young man who's going to do wonderful things, has already.
Great. Thank you, Jane. I will take a look at that. So thank you for sharing that. All right. If there are no other member reports, we'll move on to I think all of the maybe agenda or the minutes from the communications subcommittee were circulated. So do we want to go back to that? Okay.
Yeah, they just got them. I had to log in. I'm at home using Zoom, so I had to log in, and that always takes a while. So
a little bit. All right. Do folks want a little more time to review them, or does the communications group want to go ahead and approve their minutes?
They should also be in the chat.
I can't
Yes. Thank
open
you,
those.
Monica. That's right. Did you get it via email, Barbara?
Yeah, but I can't open a WinMail document on my iPhone. I have to do it on my laptop, and I'm using that for the Zoom meeting right now. So
Did you see it in the chat, Barbara? There should be a link right there.
Oh.
I apologize that it doesn't say at the top who attended that time. Usually Felicia and I, when we collaborate on these minutes, include that, and obviously we forgot to this month, so.
Okay, well, I leave it to the communications committee to take any actions on those that they deem appropriate.
I can vote to approve the outreach committee minutes that are in the chat. Those look fine.
Second.
Yeah, they look good.
All right, are we going to call those approved then? All
Yeah.
right. So we'll call the outreach committee minutes approved as well. Okay, thanks for bearing with us, everybody. And with that, I think we can move on to our old business. Excuse me, 3 items on there. The first is Juneteenth Proclamation. I don't know that there's anything to update on that has been posted, adopted by the town council. You know, as Jane mentioned, right, the production of the informational poster, and as Margaret mentioned, the witness stones placement ceremony, all were tied into this year's proclamation, which was, I think, thankfully, more focused or increasingly focused on our local history, which I think is really the intent of the holiday, to ensure that we're talking about our own communities. So I don't know if anybody has anything else on the proclamation as it stands.
I think it's a very good proclamation. That was a 3-person effort, and I want to thank Esme because some of her wording was really good. It was much better than mine. So thank you.
Yes, thank you, Esme and Jane, for your contributions on that. It is improved every year, so I'm sure that will continue. Okay, if there's nothing else on that, let's move on to the book discussions. And this is you, Jane, so I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah. Okay, we are on hold until I find out if I get any money as far as the book discussion goes. But in the meanwhile, the new superintendent of the Mansfield schools, whose name is Peter Dark, has convened a committee of people to advise him on DEI issues. And he's had 2 meetings, and I've gone to both of those meetings, and he wants to have a bunch of public discussions about equity in the public schools. So I'm kind of expanding my idea about what kinds of discussions we ought to be sponsoring. And I think we ought to collaborate with the school committee or whatever Peter and his organization when we get around to that. And I'm kind of seeing a long, let's all talk to each other kind of process that goes on so that people speak to each other about things that they care about. He's really good. He's really committed, and I think he's going to do a really good job. So there's nothing updated on the book discussion, but I'm having more ideas about topics for future conversations, and I'll let you know if I find out about money. And if I don't find out about money, I'm going to go ahead without it, which means without the speaker, but with the book.
Okay, yeah, keep us posted, Jane, and if there's anything we can do to support the
I have a question.
fundraising.
Did we get any money in the budget this year? Did we make it through the budget? We asked for $5,000 for the commission.
We did. Well, we did ask. I don't know if it made it through. Monica, I don't know if you've seen anything. I lost track of the budget there at that period, so we could follow up.
Yeah, because if we have money on that, that really was written from the perspective of hiring the woman who's the author of that book. So if we want money, I can go ahead.
Okay. So I can reach out to Ryan to confirm whether anything came through. Circling back to the Peter Dart and the Mansfield Public Schools, do you think we might invite him to join a meeting? Kelly did that on occasion in the past, and I think that was a good way of
Absolutely.
ensuring the open lines of communications between the commission and the school district, and ensuring that we can support their efforts in this regard. Do you think that would be a good idea, Jane?
It would be a wonderful idea. He's a very engaging person. He knows how to make an audience that is just sitting there, get involved in a conversation, even there's 50 of them, and I was very impressed by that. So I would love to have him come to one of our meetings.
Okay, well, why don't we extend an invitation for him to come to our July meeting? If he's able, then he can come. If not, then another one down the road. But maybe it'll be a little quiet in the summer for him. And if he's not on vacation, maybe he can join. So I can do that as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Any other comments, thoughts on this one? Great. Okay. Thank you, Jane. And then I have C on old business suggestion box update. Margaret, do you have an update on those?
My update is that it just got knocked off by Juneteenth, but I discovered that the affordability of these posters that we did for Juneteenth at $1.50 a piece, we could print out, some nice color board backdrops and not have to execute those 7. And it would be great if we had a conversation with the keepers of the different facilities we want to put them at. I haven't actually reached out to the community center or the library about our interest in this. So that's something that perhaps some of the committee folks might take on our behalf. But I can try to get those backdrops done so we can put those suggestion boxes out. We are repurposing boxes that the HR department had that are locking suggestion boxes that are quite durable. So,
Margaret, once you get the boxes ready to go, I'm happy to take them to the community center and the library and ask if they will put them there.
great.
So if you can just shoot me an email when they're ready to pick up, I'll come by and get them. And I have a question while we're talking about this. Did everybody get this really fancy card about the marijuana stuff in Mansfield?
Mhm.
No, because this came to my house in some sort of mailing that they did about they wanted us to complete the cannabis survey. Do you know who financed this? Was it the town?
Yeah, absolutely. This came out of the Planning and Zoning Commission because they wanted community input as part of, input for them to develop regulations. So that was sent, it's called an every door direct mail. So it's literally sent to every household, probably business as well in Mansfield.
So my question is, if a planning and zoning can do this, why is it that we don't have a budget or ability to send out something to everybody in Mansfield? We have talked about this. When I got this, I thought, who financed it and why? And is it something we can do? Something like this? This would be great.
Yeah, they're quite pricey. I can look up while we're talking, what an every door direct mail costs to produce, to print and then to mail. It's not an inexpensive proposition. And I can get back to you with, what the pricing is on something like that. And I think it exceeds our $5,000 budget.
Why does planning and zoning have a budget for that and Human Rights Commission doesn't have any budget?
Because it's part of the planning and development office of of town hall. I mean, they're the commission that works with planning and development, but they do get funding for, different things having to do with development in the community. And that's what the cannabis piece is related to.
Okay, I mean, because we've been talking now for over a year about how do we reach people in Mansfield to let them know what it is we're doing. And it seemed like it was impossible to do a direct mailing. We keep hearing, oh no, you can't do it, you can't do it. But then I get this thing in the mail and it was financed by the town. So I'm bringing it up, thinking, why can't we use something like that?
So then I guess you would just have to take forward a proposal to where, to where the budget lies. So I can certainly help assist with, who do we go to if we have something we want to reach out to everybody, and perhaps there is funding for that. So.
Because remember the survey that we tried to get out to people and we had such a hard time with that? This is a survey, this card. They have a QR code, which takes you directly to a survey and makes it extremely easy to fill it out. So if they can do it, I think we should be able to do it also.
Barbara, I think, we're brand new, and I don't think we made ourselves as visible as we are now about to become. Because, and so people said, well, I don't know if you were there when I said, I don't want to be Eeyore's balloon. Eeyore's, about Eeyore's.
Remember that.
Okay, I don't want us to be Eeyore's balloon. I want us to have the ability to raise issues and talk to people. So I think now's the time to start raising the issues. I think everybody's very well aware that we're around. So we just need to start asking and saying things like what you just said. So Margaret will let us know what we need to know, right?
Well, I will let you know what an every door direct mail costs to do. Okay. And then if we put one together for some cause, I think we would then just need to go to, I'm assuming, the town manager to say, is there money somewhere for us to do this for our costs? So.
Yeah, I think we need to be a lot more intentional about having a budget, but this is our first time trying it. So let's see where we go with it.
Great. Thank you, Margaret, for looking into that. And then Barbara and Jane, as once you get that information, if you want to follow up and find out what's in the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Any other comments, questions on the suggestion box update, or shall we move to the next item? Okay, next item under new business is the charge changes. And I think this was something that came up in a meeting that I missed. So I think I should turn it over to Jane probably.
I have been derelict. Monica, you talk.
Yeah, this is actually from an email that Sarah Ann had sent out, and I forwarded. It is, I'm trying to find it now. It has to do with changing of charges, and this committee and committees, I think, is opening up the chance to do so. So I don't believe that it is like we have to get it in tomorrow or anything like that. I just wanted to bring it to everyone's attention. Here, hold on. Yeah, so it says the committee and committees is in the process of reviewing committee charges and making updates. If a committee would like to propose new language for the charge, then we need to let her know, so we can plan for it to be proposed to the committee and committees.
Glenn, if I remember correctly, and since you went to Italy, which I didn't realize, and that sounds wonderful, you probably forgot about it, but you said, oh, that's all right, I'll take a look at it. And I said, oh, good, I don't have to take a look at it. So I didn't take a look at it. But if we're not in a hurry, I'm willing to take a look at it. But
yeah, we could.
For a year, how much changes do we want to make?
Right. I mean, we're a fairly new commission. So it's not like, this has been around for 20 years and needs updating. At least as far as I'm concerned, I haven't felt constrained by our charge that has prevented us from doing the kinds of things that we want to do as a commission. So I think it's worth taking a look because the opportunity is here, and I would encourage everyone to look at our charge, but maybe Jane, you and I can take a look and see if there's anything at all we'd like to change, and we can bring that to our next meeting in July.
I'm going to be floating around the North Sea on our next meeting in July.
Congrats.
So
Good
I'm
for you.
going to be attending. And I'm not sure I would if I could, but I don't think I'm going to be able to. So, but anyway, we'll do it and then you'll talk about it. and it'll be-
Okay, fair enough. Yes, okay. Great, okay. So the next item is future outreach opportunities. Sounds like communications and outreach subcommittee agenda item. So I'll send it to you. Actually, the next two, because Celebrate Mansfield is on there too. Maybe I wasn't specific enough. So
Yeah.
members of the outreach subcommittee, are there future outreach opportunities that you would like us to discuss?
I mean, I already said something about the card that was sent around to everybody in town. I think that might be something we could look into. We do need to have a presence at the Celebrate Mansfield Festival, which is in September. Is that true? Does anybody have a date for that yet?
September 24th.
Oh,
We did a nice job and we had a banner and stuff last year and we should be able to do that again without too much trouble.
I kind of like the thing where
So
people were
the-
putting the dots on the map.
Yeah, that was
It's
fun.
fun.
Yeah, I got some good conversations there.
Yeah.
So what we have tentatively arranged is that the photo exhibit about in celebration of World Refugee Day, the photo exhibit that was at the Storrs Congregational Church this past weekend, and I think is probably there for a little bit. We have tentatively booked that to hang in the Mansfield Library Express at the Nash Zimmer Center. They have the facility to be able to hang them there. And so I'm hoping that as part of Celebrate Mansfield, we can kind of lure people in to see that exhibit and have our HRC table, you know, be part of that exhibit, and that would engage in some conversation and that we could have our table and do some work. But we're required to hang that interior. So we'll have to work with the committee and you know, in concept, the library and the organizing committee are on board with it, but to sort of bring people inside to see that exhibit as part of our display, if that makes sense, you know, to everybody here. But those are, you know, we've tentatively talked about that.
Where would the inside, where is the exhibit hung inside?
Have you been to the Library Express?
No.
in the
Oh,
Nash
is it in
Center?
the bus station there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
so-
yeah, I know where you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, they have some hanging, they do have an exhibit there currently. So they do have the facility to be able to hang in a
Mhm.
nice way, professionally, some photographs. So I'm hoping that we can, you know, make use of that facility and, you know, that might be part of our exhibit. We still have everything in hand that we had from last year. The only thing that's missing is our mounted human rights poster that Glenn provided to us, or we purchased and had mounted, was hanging on a bulletin board and fell off in town hall and was there for a couple of days and then it disappeared. So I have a missing, you know, sign where the poster used to hang. I don't know if somebody thought it wasn't wanted and walked away with it. I talked to the custodians, they didn't hide it anywhere. So we may have to purchase another one of those, but you know, I think we have the rolled up map and the banner and all of that.
I won't comment on the symbolism of the missing human rights in Mansfield, but that sounds overall that plan sounds, I think, really good. I was at the Storrs Congregational for the event on Sunday, and the exhibit is quite moving, and so would make a lot of sense. So is it possible then that the Human Rights Commission's table could be reserved outside of Nash Zimmer, so positioned, you know, we're kind of in that area last time, and so maybe it's just a excuse me, you know, that would be a good spot for us to set up, and there could be some coordination then between the two.
Yeah, we'll just have to work that all out with the committee about how all that might work.
Okay. So it sounds like this is obviously you know, something for the communications and outreach subcommittee to focus on in particular. And I don't know if there's you know, should be a representative from the group that connects with the library and makes, you know, whatever coordination is necessary to make the exhibit connect with whatever we're doing in our booth, or if there are other conversations. You know, obviously there's a range of human rights issues, but in Mansfield, we have been focusing in recent years on refugees and other newcomers. We're part of the Welcoming America Rural Communities Initiative. There's an effort to develop new policies and procedures to make sure that Mansfield is a welcoming community for all. So, you know, this may be a good area of focus for us, and it plays well with the map that we had last year. I won't be here in September likely, so I'll leave it all to you all to ultimately decide what direction you'd like to go with it. But that sounds all very good to me.
It would be nice if we had somebody who said, yes, I will be responsible for this, rather than letting it float around in the ozone.
Glenn, when are you leaving exactly? Do we need to look for a new chairman for the Human Rights Commission? We don't want to be leaderless.
Yeah, chairless. There's nothing worse. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, I suppose you do. So I will be here for the next meeting for sure, potentially as well for the August meeting. But you know, I will be, by the end of the summer, I'll be exiting. So so yes, and I guess that's not on the agenda, but it should be for, I guess, next time. I'm not exactly sure. I think the the chair is not a, you know, so it's elected from the membership. It's not a, you know, you don't recruit a new chair. So you'll recruit a new member, and then the members will vote on a new chair. Is essentially, I think, how it'll work. Okay, back to Jane's, you know, question about, is there somebody who would like to, you know, take a point on the Celebrate Mansfield connections in this group?
What is it going to involve? I might be able to do it for the.
I think it'll involve liaising with libraries on the exhibit, with Margaret and the Celebrate Mansfield Commission committee on, you know, just the kind of logistics of the placement of our booth, and then, you know, coordinating volunteers and you know, the other activities. I mean, it shouldn't fall all on you, but, you know, just one person to make sure the checklist of things is getting done is always a good practice.
I think I can handle some of that, because we're not going on another trip till October, so I'll be here.
Good. Well, we won't ask where what next fabulous place you're going to, and to stay our jealousy for a little while.
Enjoy
but
your
thank you
last
for
trip
Barbara.
very much.
I can volunteer again to work the festival, the entire thing, and I'd be glad to volunteer to help with the setup and the cleanup.
Great.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
I can help with that as well. Set up, cleanup, working the festival. I'm definitely available.
Thank you, Quincy. That is wonderful.
Me too.
Write it in the minutes so they don't forget what they said.
Exactly, and
I'm
Esme's
also
in there
writing.
too. So Esme, Quincy, and Virginia. Yeah. Great. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Barbara, for taking point, and everyone else. Again, it's a great opportunity for us in lots of different ways. So, all right. Anything else on Celebrate Mansfield? Okay. Then moving on to our last new business is the biographies updates. I think this is our website. And I have not looked recently, but we certainly have had some changes in our membership, and so making sure we're current. Margaret, do you have a status update?
We are not current. I need to get the updates of, I know sort of who's no longer a member for our member listing, but if you recall, then there's a way to link, and we had created a little document that was a bio, a picture and a short bio of all of our members. So I would love to have Quincy and Esme, and I would love to write up if Felicia and Derek are going to continue with us in their capacity. It would be nice to be able to get that updated with pictures and little bios. So I encourage you all to go there. I have not spent any time on it until our recruitment effort yielded some happy results, and I'm glad to see with Quincy joining that it has. So I'm happy to work on that. If folks want to just send a picture and a little look at what we've got there, and that's the kind of information we're looking for, so we can get that updated.
I can get that. Thanks, Margaret.
The link is in the chat if you guys would like to see what's been posted already.
Great. Well, that sounds pretty straightforward then. Quincy, Esme, just follow that pattern. And then, yeah, I think Felicia and Derek, we should recognize your substantial contributions. So I'd love to have a line item there for both of you. Okay. Great. Well, that seems taken care of, unless there's anything else anybody has on bios or anything else web related. Okay. All right, fantastic. Well, we have been terribly efficient in getting through our old and our new business. And we're on to our last items, communications, of which there is none currently, and reports from subcommittees, town charge, or communications and outreach. Are there any reports? I don't believe there's any from town charge at this point. And communications and outreach, we were essentially doing your meeting at the same time, so I think we're pretty good there.
If I can
yeah, Margaret,
mention,
please.
I'm sorry, one thing that I should have brought up about future opportunities is Indigenous Peoples Day. If we're talking about Celebrate Mansfield on the 24th of September, a heartbeat later will be Indigenous Peoples Day in October. So I don't know what the expectation is on the part of the town council, but I'm sure that they would be looking for, some marking of that, and they typically look to this committee for that. We can certainly continue to enhance the website that we got started on. Thank you to Derek and Felicia last year, and make that better and better. But I just would like to get that maybe on our next agenda to talk about what we might do with that. And related to that, and actually Jane's book discussion as well. I think I had shared with some folks on the outreach committee that there's a library consortium of some kind that Mansfield is part of that will actually bring in authors by Zoom to meet with a book discussion group. So it's a nominal fee apparently, but there's a number of authors that have agreed that they would do that. So that's an opportunity through the library. It's somewhat, similar to what Jane's got in mind with that very specific author, right? To have a book to study a book together. But that's another opportunity. And I don't know whether there's something relative to Indigenous peoples that we might consider for that, or if there's something else that we might co-sponsor, an event with a historical society. But let's put that on our agenda for.
Yeah,
another meeting.
somebody mentioned that to me, and I think it was Leslie. So I will follow up with her because that sounded like a wonderful opportunity. It's relatively inexpensive. It's almost free, but I don't know what who the authors are. Do we have any Indigenous people who we are aware of in Mansfield in the schools or in any part of town government or anything like that? Has anybody claimed that identity that we know about? Not that we know about. So we need
Not
to
that
go
I'm
look.
aware.
We need to go looking for some people because we can't be planning an event about them without having them there.
There is
We have time to find them, so that's okay.
a reinvigorated Native American cultural program at the university, which would be a good resource to start with, for sure. But yes, I agree, Margaret. That would be great to put on the agenda and to look again at the proclamation and then build out. There has been new statewide legislation that was adopted this year that included Native American studies as a requirement now in K through 12 education, similar to the ethnic studies that includes Puerto Rican and Latin American studies and African American studies. So, there may be an opportunity again to partner with the schools. There has been some really great work out of Goodwin by some of the teachers there on redoing their, I think it was their 3rd grade curriculum. That's a typical, colonial history to be more Native focus. So, I would encourage that as a, pathway to collaboration. If, part of our modus operandi is always to work in partnership with others, that would be a good starting point.
I could talk to Peter about that. Quincy, you want to say something?
I actually I am very close friends with Natasha Gambrell, who is the she's with the Eastern Pequot tribe. She's the counselor. She just was elected about a year ago, and she went to Eastern. We went to school together, and she is very, very involved in outreach and education, and does lots of tribal dances. That's a big thing that that she does and that she shares. And on Indigenous Peoples Day last year, they had a big ceremony and they had dances and food and all this. And I think she would be a really good person to connect and even get in here for a meeting. She would be perfect. She's young, she's full of energy, and she's all about hating. So I think you guys will love her.
Quincy, if you know her, would you mention this to her and see if she's interested?
I just actually sent her a message.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
because she may be young and full of energy, but 4 million people are going to want her all on the same day.
Yeah, well, she's done very large events. She does, like, she hosts like the annual powwow, which is all the different tribes come together. Wow. Huge event. So she's now in charge of all of that. So she is quite good at planning. This is like her wheelhouse. So I'm like, if we want to turn it over to some Indigenous people, and to get their input and to see what we can be doing and learning, because I'm not going to claim to know, but I can definitely say I've been to her events and they are phenomenal. And she does spoken word poetry and dancing, and
phenomenal. That's fantastic. Talk to her.
Yeah,
see what she thinks we can do.
Yes, yeah,
that's great.
Perfect. Well, thanks for mentioning this, Margaret, and awesome, Quincy. If you can do that outreach and make that connection, let's keep this on the agenda for next time, and let's keep this moving forward.
Definitely. Should I, when I chat with her, should I invite her to the next meeting, or?
I think that would be fantastic. Yeah, if she'd be willing to join. Yeah.
And then I'll let you guys know, and you guys can send her everything. So okay.
Perfect.
Great.
Okay. All right. So anything else? I think that was kind of a quasi report from the communications and outreach group, but anything else on reports from subcommittees? All right, and seeing no publics here to address, let me just pause here and give Derek and Felicia any chance they've got anything to share with us. You've been quiet for most. Is there anything we're missing or we're forgetting that you should remind us of? All good. You're just trying to get over the finish line here. We're almost there. You're almost there. Summer's around the corner. Okay. All right. Well, folks, thank you so much. Great to see you all. Great meeting. Lots of good things moving forward. So we'll call it an evening. And if you need anything in the meantime, reach out. Otherwise, we will see you next month for updates on all these fronts.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.